Hello, Facebook family. It's me, Shannon LaBruyere. I am live and loving it from the middle of a power outage in Michigan. And I know a lot of my Michigan peeps are having the same issues. We have had such weather come through Michigan, blowing down power lines, a lot of wind damage. There was a tornado out in the thumb. It's just been crazy. But I'm thrilled to be here and be able to join you. Margaret, hi. I hope you guys are safe out there in the Blue Water area. Man, a lot of bad stuff happening out there, and I hope you have power. At my home, we do not have power, and so I'm coming to you from a lovely hotel room because my husband and I decided why not just make a little bit of an evening of it, and we went out and got a bite to eat, and we're hoping and praying that our electricity comes on sometime tonight by midnight, they're suggesting. So by the morning, everything will be righted and we'll go clean out our refrigerator and do all those things. I am glad to be safe though, and I'm glad to be here. Oh, Margaret, I'm so glad to hear that you guys are doing well. Excellent. I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad you have power. Wonderful, wonderful. Bobby, hi. I'm glad you're here, jumping on. Hopefully you have power too. I can see my Michigan peeps are rolling in, so that's nice. Well, I am super excited to talk to you tonight. I'm just going to get it out there. It may be a little bit, I may look down at a screen a little more than I usually do. Hi, Kathy, glad you jumped on. And that's because I'm not in my normal space, so I had to kind of configure things here a little differently. But it'll be fine. We'll still learn it. We'll love it. It'll be great. So that's awesome. All right. So let me see. Before we get started on the topic, which is fairy tales, let me see. We just wrapped up a 3-week mastermind, the July 2019 live stream leadership mastermind, which was leading others. No, it's leading ourselves. We just wrapped up leading ourselves. And for those of you who are interested in experiencing what a mastermind is like, you are welcome to join in the August mastermind session. It is going to be about leading others. And you will not have to have seen the first one for you to be in the second one. So it'll be really easy to jump in, and I would love for you to join us. It's done virtually on Facebook Live, so it doesn't matter what state or country you are in. If you have a desire to connect with people and experience the power of learning how to be a good leader and sharing that with other people, this will be a perfect fit for you. We'll be opening up registration this coming week. It's $25 for the 3 sessions, and it starts August 10th, 17th, and then 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and the 24th. August 10th, 17th, and 24th. Saturday mornings, Eastern Time, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. All right, let's get started. All right, so hold on a second here. I'd like to introduce you to one of my clients. I'll call her Jill. That's not her real name. Hi, Bridget. I'm glad you're jumping on. I'd like to introduce you to my client, Jill, and that's not her real name. She had to raise her siblings because her dad was an alcoholic. And her mom kind of checked out of the whole mothering thing and wasn't around much. And she certainly wasn't a good caregiver. So Jill and her sister dug coins out of the middle of the couch cushions so that they could walk a mile to the party store to buy a box of really expensive cereal so that the 4 siblings back at home could have something to eat. That's the kind of life she lived. One Thanksgiving, she had to make Thanksgiving dinner for the kids, and it was a boxed ham, or a canned ham that had the jelly all over it. And she didn't know enough to cook it, and so for Thanksgiving dinner, she and her siblings had canned ham with gel all over it because her mom was at her boyfriend's celebrating, right? Not cool. She didn't have the best life, obviously, but she did get some grants to go to college, and she went for a year, but then a misguided but sadly trusted family advisor gave her some advice that she should drop out of the university and go to a Bible college and take music lessons so that she could get a job being a music instructor. So she did that. And then, before she could even enroll, that school folded and it closed. It was no longer there. Crazy, crazy stuff. Man, she just couldn't catch a break. She decided to get a manual labor job. So she went out there, started, using her muscles to make a living. And the people there were so terrible to her that she ended up coming home one day from work and having a nervous breakdown on her front porch. Not cool. After that, she got fired. She finally found another position, worked for 25 years, gave it her blood, sweat, and tears, and then she got downsized to a lower position. She inherited a series of bosses who didn't appreciate what she did, didn't value what she brought to the team, and pretty much treated her terrible. So, under all that stress and pressure, she had a panic attack. She ended up being off sick for 6 months, and she had to retire. Tough stuff. Tough stuff. So I'm going to take a break here. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up, because I think something's going on with my Facebook here, because I'm going to wave at some of you guys and see what happens, because, yeah, let's just make sure you guys are there. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you. All right, so that was Jill. Tough life. All right, so I'm going to share with you about another client, and I'll call her Kate. And in comparison to Jill, she had a really charmed life. She was recognized as gifted when she was in elementary school. And the teachers really worked, even when she was young, to help her reach her potential. So they gave her great stuff to read, and they were just always pushing her, come on, you can do it, try this. Really exciting. And when her family grew, her parents had more kids and they had to move, her family ended up moving to a house in a really great school district. So she got the best opportunities. It was one of the best school districts in the state. So she was set, primed, right in a great spot to be seen and noticed by colleges and recruiters and all that good stuff. So she had a really sweet spot. And her parents were really proud of her. And they encouraged her to read and to learn. And if she ever wanted a book, if it wasn't at the library, they'd buy it for her. I mean, they were awesome. So her parents really were invested in her success, wanting her to learn and read. And then her brothers and sisters she fought with them, but they were cool. They were fun. She took care of them from time to time. And she also got to take them with her to Sunday school, which she loved. And they got to go and learn about God and get candy bars and win prizes. And it happened once a week, every week, from the time she was 6 until the time she was 18. Just a nice, consistent flow of good people pouring into her. So that was awesome. And she also had a few mentors. She had one mentor who worked with her so that she could learn how to teach children, and really poured into her, helping her to learn, how do you deal with kids? How do you prepare a lesson? So, Kate had it going. She had it going on. People were pouring into her. When she was a senior in high school, she had a mentor who helped her get some really awesome scholarships, got some money to help her go to college, gave her some good, wise advice, just really wonderful stuff, people who really cared. So that was awesome. So Kate was loving that. She ended up going to college for a year and then she left, but she married her best friend when she left. And they ended up starting a family. They had 3 great kids, and she went out and got a job, but she found out really quickly that people at her job, the managers and the supervisors, really appreciated what she did, and so they gave her lots of opportunities to get promoted. So she just kept moving up the ladder, and she was really loving what she was doing and all the new challenges. And it suited her perfectly. And she was there for about 25 years. And then she decided that she wanted to venture out on her own so that she could use her talents and her abilities in the way she wanted to use them, in the way she knew was going to make the biggest impact. And so she decided she would take an early retirement and she'd become an entrepreneur. That's Kate. You probably have already guessed that Jill, the client who had that horrible life? It's actually me. But you also probably guessed that Kate, that fortunate young woman who had such a charmed life, that was me too. That was me too. Both of those lives were true. This is what matters, and this is what I hope you take away from what we're talking about tonight. This is what matters. You get to decide the narrative that you tell about your life. Because I know I am not alone in having challenges and having a rough life and having some really bad things happen to me. You've had it happen to you too. But this is the difference, and we all get to pick. Our fairy tale belongs to us. Our fairy tale belongs to us. Carol, yes, I love that heart. Yes, our fairy tale belongs to us. We pick. And nobody else gets to decide what pieces of our story we choose to dwell on. When I had my career in the government, I was talking with a man one time, and I was super excited about a job I was getting ready to do, and I was pouring everything into it. And he was smirking and laughing at me, and he said, "You know what? You are a Pollyanna. You just think everything's sunny and wonderful, and you just think everything's going to work out so good." And people, he was saying that like it was a bad thing. It was not a bad thing, because guess what? The glass can be half full, the glass can be half empty. Both of those things are true. Barbara, thanks for jumping on. We are talking about choosing our own story. So, just because it's true doesn't mean you have to dwell on it. And you and I have both, and you may be one of these people, but I have met many people, and especially since I've been coaching, I have met many people who calculate every bad thing that ever happened to them, and they start building a list. They calculate their losses. They keep a running total. Well, we lost a job here, and this is how much I lost. Yep, I ended up having a car accident here, and this is how much it cost me. Yep, I ended up falling here, and I broke my leg, and this is how long I had to be off work. And they calculate their losses. And folks, I'm here to tell you, that is true. What they were saying was absolutely true. And they choose to calculate their losses. But this is what I've learned over time. When I'm choosing to calculate my losses, the only reason I am doing that is to build an excuse for me not doing what I want to do now. I build excuses when I start calculating my losses, building the case for why I'm not doing as well as I think I ought to be doing, why I am not the superstar nationally recognized coach that I know I want to be. When I calculate my losses, all the reasons why I'm not and I can't, you guys know what I say about energy. Where our focus goes, our energy flows. When we start calculating our losses and focusing so much on building our case for falling short, we are going to get more of the same, because where our focus goes, our energy flows. This is the thing. No matter what losses, and you heard, and if you're just jumping on, and welcome Bill, I'm glad you're here. If you're just jumping on, I encourage you, go back to the beginning of this after we're done tonight. Go back when we're done having the live session and watch this replay, and I want you to hear the story of Jill and Kate, two of my dearest clients. I want you to hear their story, because it is powerful and it will teach you something about your life and how much power you have over it. You do not have control over everything that happens to you, but you absolutely have control over what pieces you want to dwell on and what truth you want to pull from it. Nelson, thanks for being here. I'm so glad you're here. It's good to see you, one of my fellow JMT people. All right, so are you going to be the person who takes a look at your life and starts calculating the losses and keeping the running total about how much life's cost you, how much bad stuff has happened to you, how rough you've had it, how against you people have been, how biased your bosses were? You can choose that path, but I am here to tell you when you endlessly calculate your losses, you are a victim. You are a victim. And victims don't get what they want out of life. They get what everybody else hands them. You have a choice to make, to choose the narrative that you are going to focus on in your life. Because just like the negative things that have happened to you are true, so are the positive things. And for every negative thing that has come your way, and you heard the stories I told, for every negative thing that comes your way, there is a truth that's positive that you could just as honestly focus on. Somebody that I know is very fond of saying, hey, I'm just being honest. Well, you're only being partially honest. You're only focusing on the things that aren't going to work, the things that won't happen, the things you think will never be real. That's one form of honesty, I guess, but you're only focusing on a short, small little slice of the pie. I choose to focus on the part that says, I can do it. I will succeed. This is going to work. And if it's not, I know how to make it work. I'll figure it out because I'm resilient, because I've got a narrative that says I'm an overcomer. I've been here before. I've triumphed. I know how to do this. That's truth. If you're on this live stream right now, if you're watching this replay, this means that you are an overcomer who wants to grow, who wants to learn, and who knows you are capable of more. Because if you didn't know that, you wouldn't be here. It is time to leave the losses on that spreadsheet behind you. Stop calculating the losses. I want you to think about what happens in your life if you start calculating the successes. You know how sometimes you go and just beat yourself up, and I've done this, beat yourself up for every little thing that you did wrong, every little mistake you made, every little choice that just didn't go the way. When you look back with, hindsight's 20/20, you look back and go, oh my gosh, I really should have done something different. Carol, yes, what I'm saying will be in a book. And Jason, I am glad you jumped on. And Jason, I want to make sure you go back and listen to the front of this on the replay after we're done on live, okay? I want you to do that because you are it's for you, buddy. It's a message that you are going to love because you saw me in some of the, oh, now I gave it away. But anyways, so you knew me during some of those times. So it'll mean something to you, Jay. All right, so this is the God's honest truth. We can focus on the piece of the truth that's going to feed our soul and allow us to grow. Or we can spend time wallowing in self-pity and beating ourselves up for things that we had no idea that we could have done differently at the time. We did the best we could with what we knew at the time. Leave that. Forgive yourself. Or, you know what? Instead of forgiving yourself, how about pat yourself on the back and say, hey, you did a great job for not having all the facts. You did a great job for not knowing that guy was cheating on you behind your back. You did a great job. That's truth also. I dwell on my losses. I am a victim. I dwell on my gains, my successes, where things worked out, where things were good, where I was fortunate, where I was blessed, where God shone into my life. I dwell on those things, and I am an overcomer. I am filled with faith that good things are in my future. Yes, I love the hearts. I love them. So some of you may know the story of David and Goliath. And for those of you who don't, I'm just going to give you a little synopsis of it. So this is a story in the Bible of a giant named Goliath who was threatening an entire army. He was threatening them, he was making fun of them, he was taunting them, he was ridiculing them. These are full-grown men in the army, and they are being taunted and ridiculed by a giant of a man. And they were scared to death. They were scared to death. They refused to act against this enemy because they were so afraid of what that enemy was going to do to them. They were intimidated. And then a young boy named David comes to deliver lunch to some of his brothers who are in this mighty army. and he hears what that giant's saying. And this young boy says, oh, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. No way is that guy going to be talking like that about our country, about our God. He's not going to make threats about us like that. I'm going to take some action. I'm going to go conquer him. I'm going to go fight him. This young boy. And all of his brothers were mocking and ridiculing him. You can't do that. No way, you shouldn't do that. He was adamant, I want to do it. He was so adamant that he made his way in front of the king. And the king says, there's no way you can do it. We'll be embarrassed if we send you out there, David. You can't do it. He's too big. You're too little. Forget it. It's done. And this is where David chose his narrative. Carla and Pat, I'm so glad you jumped on. This is the point where David chose his story. David could have thought, you know what? I am kind of young. I am kind of small. I've never been in an army before. Maybe I need to go home. He could have chose that, but instead he focused on his truth. This is what David knew about himself. He knew that he had been out in the fields with his sheep when a bear came and tried to threaten his flock. And David knew that he had killed that bear single-handedly. David knew that when a lion had come to threaten him, he was able to kill that lion single-handedly. That was David's truth. Was it true that he was young and he was small and he was inexperienced? That was true. That was true. But what was also true was that he was a conqueror and he had fought mighty enemies in his past. And so David, if you're familiar with the story of David and Goliath, David took 5 smooth stones and a slingshot, wound it up, and knocked that giant in the head, felled him to the ground, and they chopped off his head. David knew his truth, and he chose the truth that was going to allow him to accomplish his dream, to do what he knew he had to do. Yes to those hearts. Yes. Hey, Philip, I'm so glad you're here. He knew what he had in him. And I am here to ask you, what is in you? What is in you that you have been ignoring? Because for some reason you felt like the wise thing to do was to focus on your weaknesses and focus on your failures. Giselle, if that's you, I am so glad to see you. What are you focusing on in your life that is true? Is it feeding your soul or is it dragging you down? Is the story that you're telling yourself about you making you happier, helping you grow, helping you have stronger connections, better relationships? If the truth you're choosing to focus on isn't bringing you life, then you need to choose the other story because they are both true. You pick the one that you get to live into. Don't think for a minute that other people are lucky because they have something good. That isn't how it works. We all know that our lives have pieces in them that aren't perfect. They do. Every one of us has a challenge. We have a health challenge. We have a loved one who's ill. We have children who are estranged. We have jobs that we don't like. These things are all true. If we allow ourselves to be consumed with that, we will not live into our purpose. We will never be significant. We will never have the impact that we were designed to have on the people in our world, right? Julie says, I still believe I have a message to share. Julie, you do. And it's time to start focusing on the truth that allows you to take it to the next step, not the spreadsheet of losses and reasons why I can't. Because we've all got both of them. We can choose which one to focus on. That manager who talked to me years ago and rolled his eyes and said, oh, you're such a Pollyanna. None of that will ever happen. All your hard work is going to be for nothing. It'll be a waste. I'm here to tell you, he was wrong. He was wrong. His life may have felt like a waste. He may have felt like he was having no impact where he was working. He might have felt like he wasn't doing any good in the role that he had. But I, on the other hand, I knew the truth about me. I knew that I wasn't that poor, abandoned, helpless, overlooked kid from way back when. I was the kid who was special, who was chosen, who was equipped, who people cared about. And that carried me through my life. It can carry you through yours. If you are not choosing the story that allows you to be the winner, it's time to start. Because I am 100% convinced every one of us has that in us. I believe in you. I believe in me. I know that there are great things that we can still do, joy that we can live into, people we can impact, change that we can make happen, but it will never work if we are focusing on calculating our losses instead of calculating our strengths. Calculating our losses instead of calculating our wins. Like David and Goliath, David could have focused on the truth that he was young, he was small, he was weak, but instead he chose to focus on the truth. He had been strong. He had been mighty. He had demonstrated that he was powerful and capable against a very, very worthy opponent. He was not afraid. Go forth from here. Don't be afraid. Find those windows of truth that are positive, that are moving you forward so that you can accomplish everything you want to accomplish in your life. I did not let a power outage stop me from delivering that message to you, and I am glad about it. I am really, really glad that you joined. I am so glad you were here. I'm so glad you're here. I am glad that you took time out of your Sunday night to tune in to get something to feed your soul so that you can thrive starting tomorrow morning first thing. If you've never been here on Sunday Night Live, thank you for joining. And if you'd like to see more of what I've done, I have a YouTube channel. All you have to do is put Shannon LaBruyere in the search bar at YouTube, and it'll take you right to my YouTube channel where there's an archive of Sunday Night Live. So whenever you need a little motivational boost, that's a good place to go. And for those of you who are wondering what it would be like to work with me as we learn how to be great leaders of other people in a small community of about 20 people, I would love for you to consider joining our mastermind that's coming up in August called Leading Others. All right, so we have a couple minutes here. I got 1 minute till 7:30, but I love your comments, so keep posting them. I love the hearts. Who is that? Is that Giselle? I can't see. I don't see your name. I will have to when I'm not on my phone, but I'm loving the hearts. Thank you, whoever you are. I will see you when I can blow you up. That's the problem doing it on a phone, everybody. It's super little, but I can see. I have trifocals. That's why I have to do that. I think I've got all the comments down. You guys are amazing. Thank you for joining, and I want you to have a great, wonderful week. Mwah! Goodbye.